Saahas, thank you so much for joining me here today at PPIF. Tell me about 2024 and how it feeds into your 2025 outlook.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So in terms of 2024, I think as with most of the market, we had a fairly strong year, and that was driven by the demand remaining very strong for the aviation industry, right? Now, when I link that back into the private placement market and stuff and the overall interest rate environment, I think nothing surprised me there. I think the market expectation was the interest rates are going to be high and for remain high for a long period of time, and we saw that interest rates were quite high in 2024 comparative to in the past, and that hasn't dropped off, and I don't think that's going to drop off anytime soon, right? So I think what I'm seeing is there's acceptance within both the issuer community and the investor community that high interest rate environment is going to remain for longer than initially expected. But then from a beyond 2025 perspective, I think the market is accepting this new reality and showing some flexibility in terms of the way papers are being structured, papers are being issued, whether that's short-term duration or some structured element to the papers and so on, which we haven't seen in the past before, right? But I think that is of quite a lot of value as an issuer to see that flexibility shown by the investor community. And I touched on this in my panel this morning, where I said, are we going to see a return of the long duration that this market's been used to? I think we will, but I think we're in the middle of that adjustment period at the moment. So we will see the return of what this market is used to, but I think we're at least 3 or 4 years away.
What about the challenges and the concerns that you may have?
I think I'm in a slightly unique position to the rest of my, issuer community, right? I deal with long-dated contracts, where when I cut a contract with my customer, I cut a contract for 10, 12, 15 years, right? So for me, what is important is not where the interest rate is sitting, but the overall environment. As long as the overall environment is stable, that's what I am really concerned about. Our business is a long-dated business model. We obviously keep an eye on the short-term risk and different things that impact on the short term, but most of our contracts are long-term contracts. So we always have a long view. Our business works through and lives through multiple cycles. Whether that is administration change, whether that is COVID. COVID hit and everybody was like, hang on, none of the aviation businesses are going to survive. Nobody's flying. How is anybody going to survive, right? But yet, we actively deleveraged during COVID. We came out stronger out of COVID than we went into COVID, right? So again, that is because the way our business runs. So whilst we keep an eye on the short-term risk, and that short-term risk could be a change in administration in the US or some change in policy between UK and EU due to Brexit, right? So we will look at all of these things, but the business model itself is built in a way that covers multiple short cycles. So am I concerned about short-term sort of risk and thing? Yes. Is it going to have a material impact to my business? No. So
tell me about the opportunities then. What do you think is going to be quite big in the private placement industry in the next couple of years?
What is going to be quite big in the private, the demand, I think. We heard again, I think it was, I can't remember which of my fellow panelists mentioned it, but they said that demand has always been more than the supply in the market, and I don't think we're going to see any changes there. I was talking to a number of investors this morning, and one of them said, last year they say they deployed $10 billion. I'm making up a number here. They're expected to deploy nearly $18 billion this year. So clearly the biggest change we're going to see is the amount of demand from the investor community in the market. That seems to keep growing year on year, which is good again as an issuer. That's what you want, right? Yeah, you want more demand for your papers, which will keep the pricing tight and so on.
Saahas, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.